business credit without having to submit any tax returns, no bank statements, having no business revenue. We're going to be answering the questions of like, what is this going to take for you to actually pull this off, and how accessible it is for you. And you're just going to be able to see the power of it. So please make sure you get your questions together. I am answering anything that you got right now, and we're gonna go for it, right? So I'm gonna jump in, and if you are coming in again, please like this, share this with somebody, and I'm grateful to be able to get this information out to you this evening, and want to make sure that you can level your life up and move things forward in your business. So that is what I'm about. I believe in abundance, and I think that you are able to push things forward. And I want to give you the tools to be able to do that, right? So as we come in, make sure you are, like I said, put your questions in the chat, and we'll get things rolling here. So just make sure we're all set up. So first we're gonna talk about the blueprint, right? This formula that you're gonna need in order to actually pull this off. There's just two main pillars that you're gonna need, right? So this is gonna be your personal credit profile and your business entity structure, right? How your business looks on paper and how it presents. And once we have those two things, then we are literally solid and good to go, right? And this is why this is so powerful is because it is a formula, like I said. So once you have those things, you're ready to move forward. There's no other guesswork or anything like that. So I want to just share with you like the exact bullet points. Like, what exactly do you need? What's going on, Ryan? What exactly do you need to be able to access this? Just straight out, right? No second thought about it. So, and then we're also going to talk about, okay, why business credit? Why is this important? Why is this different than any other avenue that you might be able to take? Um, what is the approach to this? What are some ways you can use it to leverage it? Like, how is this able to fast track things in your life, in your business? What are the possibilities with this, right? Because this opens up so much. This opens up so many doors, and it makes things very, very simple and straightforward, right? To be able to do this. So I want to break this down again. I've been in this entrepreneurial space for the past probably 4 years or so, and over that time, and probably half of that time, probably 2 years, between my wife and myself, we have obtained over $500,000 that we could use at 0% interest, that we could use towards all sorts of different things, right? So this is the power that I want to share. Please put your question in the chat. A lot of people ask the questions, and they realize that there's a lot less holding them back. So I want you to ask your question, to say like, okay, well, what is it that is holding me back? What do I think? Does this qualify for me, or is this something that I could actually access? Is this a situation where does my business fit this profile? Or I want to clear all that up for you. I've paid good money for this information, and I want you to be able to tap into that and for free on this evening, so that you can push your life forward, because this is a very, very fast way to fast track things. Again, you can be able to access 150K, 100K, 80K, 50K, whatever it is. But the power of being able to jump into that again in the next 30 days without having to have any time in business necessarily. Your business could be open literally tonight, and you can get access to it. You don't have to have any business revenue. You don't have to have tax returns. You don't have to submit a business plan. Like, all of this stuff, none of this stuff applies, right? And this is why this is one of the most powerful ways to get into it. There's lots of ways to get funded, lots of ways to jump into this. But this is one of the most powerful that I've found, because you can get into it so quickly, and it just removes a lot of red tape, right, when we approach it this way, right? So thank you guys. Oh, so watch man, thanks for the follow, appreciate you. You guys definitely share this with somebody. I'm going deep. I don't know how long I'll be on tonight, but if you got questions and you are here to learn, I'm here to teach. All right. So you said, any advice for a teen actor trying to make it big? Okay, Cameron. So teen actor trying to make it big. All right. So I would say, hey, whatever you can do. Do you have a mentor? Right? Do you have a mentor? And mentorship is one of the biggest things that I believe that we can tap into that's going to fast track anything that we're doing, right? And how do you access mentorship? And this is where I believe business credit has a very, very strong role, right? Because you can access pretty much anyone in the world for between $3,000 and $50,000, right? I would just say, pretty much anybody. So if you had that person that was that had the exact sauce on how to develop it and how to move forward and how to navigate that arena, then you could access that person, right? So do you have that money now? Again, if you're just coming up, do you have that money now to be able to do that? You may not. You may not. But if you access the business credit, and again, today is the best day to start working towards it, right? Especially if if you're a teen, this is especially important because if you start building up your credit now, then you can be in position again a year from now. It only takes really a year to be able to get a good amount of history up if you leverage some of these strategies that I'm going to be talking about as well. But it doesn't take necessarily that long in the grand scheme of things, right? A year can seem like forever, but at the same time, a year goes by super quickly, right? I know I blinked my eyes and I could have swore that it was January of 2025, and now we're in December, and that's going to be the same thing, going forward into the future. It's going to be that same thing. So you're going to be thanking yourself if you take advantage of information and start the ball rolling. And then if you say, okay, even if it took a year from now I would be ready to access 150K or 80K or 50K or 120K at 0% interest that I could be leveraging towards pretty much anything that I want to move my business and myself forward. So that is what I would say, so Cameron, to you in particular, I would say, okay, while you are you want to be targeting, like, who is the person that's walked this path before me? You know what I mean? Like, who has done this, and how can I follow their steps? How can I do the things that they did right? And how can I eliminate the wrong things that they did? And that's what a good mentor is going to give you, right? So, and this is across the board, right? Across the board in business, in real estate, and whatever it is that you're going to do, and even in business credit and business funding, right? And this is why it's going to help when you tap into this to be able to book a free consultation call with the team, right? Because they're going to walk you through what is the fastest pathway to maximize and optimize your credit and to be able to get access to high limits in funding, right? When it comes to business credit, right? So this is a critical approach to this. Again, put your questions in the chat, you guys, and I want to be able to break this down very, very clearly. But yeah, put your questions in the chat. Let me just make sure that we are all live, and let me know where you guys are tapping in from this evening, because I do want to see who's in the building and what we got going on. But I want to share this info with you. Bino, what's good? I want to share this info with you again because it's accessible by practically anybody, right? Practically anybody can access this once you have this formula in place, right? So you got the formula and you're good to go. So I'm going to go through it just from top to bottom. Again, if you have any questions, put them in the chat. I have no gatekeep in me, so I will be sure to answer whatever it is that you need. And let's get it rolling, right? Ricky Bobby, what's happening? Danny Class, what's up? So let me know you guys questions, right? Because like I said, I paid a decent amount of money to be able to understand this, and I want to share it with you, right? So here we go. So the personal credit profile, right? These are the two pillars that we need: personal credit profile, and we need our business entity structured in a certain way. When we have those two things, then we can move forward in the next 30 days, literally. And some of you watching right now might be sitting on 100K, might be sitting on 80K, 120K, in the next 30 days to be able to use for whatever it is that you want to push your life and your business forward, right? Now, again, why is business credit important, right? Why business credit, right? Because we can navigate this arena without having to touch our personal credit, right? So we can use these accounts when we get them. They do not show up on our personal credit report. They don't, the utilization doesn't show up there. The activity doesn't show up there. So we can really, really take advantage of whatever business opportunity that we want. And again, case in point, there's a lot of people, like I taught a class to a real estate group. Hey, what's going on, Jenny? I taught a class to a real estate group, and the guy in there was saying, hey, I'm doing a flip right now and doing a real estate investment, and I've got the I've got my personal credit like completely tied up. What's up, NRG? Or is that energy? Let me know. Let me know. I got my personal credit completely tied up in this, right? And because of that, his credit score, it was kind of tanked a little bit because he was like overutilized on all of his credit cards, like getting this deal done, right? And I was telling him, look, if you had just done that on the business credit side, then your personal credit could be completely intact while you do that and get that together. So this is only one of the small benefits, right, that changes the game completely, because you're able to navigate the business realm and the entrepreneurship space without impacting your personal situation, your personal credit. A lot of times your personal savings can be intact. And when you do that, your life is just better across the board, because now you're paying less for everything. Your interest rates for everything are going to be down. You have access to more things. It's just, again, everything is just better across the board. So I see, is that Denise Precious? Is that you? Let me know. And what's up, Jerome? So we're gonna go through again. Put your questions in the chat, like anything that you want to know about this, like what is holding you back at this point. What's holding you back from feeling like you are ready for this, right? Because again, a lot of people, I talked to a friend of mine. He said, how am I going to get 100K in funding when I don't have any revenue yet in my business? Like, how is that going to work? And I said, I'm very, very glad you asked. Hey, JLW Verse, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. And good evening. So how is that going to happen? Right? A lot of times you just don't know what you don't know. Right. And because of that, it's really important to know this formula and to be able to implement it, because you don't have to have revenue in order to get access to this, right? Which is super powerful. That opens up everything, because even if you're just starting out in your business, or you've been in business for a while, that means that you can access it, right? You don't have to have personal financial statements. You don't have to have tax returns. You don't have to have time in business where like your business is open for 2 years and things like that. So there's other products and other approaches where all these things are the case. Like you need to have all these documents, you need to have all this track record, you need to have business plans and things like that. Pretty Sonia, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. Again, you guys share this with somebody. I'm going in deep. I'm sharing the all the information that I have to equip you and make you successful as possible. So again, put your questions in the chat. Please take advantage of this and share this with somebody, right? Because this is extremely powerful. Like I said, between my wife and myself, we've gotten over $500,000 in business credit that we've been able to use towards all sorts of things, mentorships, real estate, assistance and things like that. It's just an extremely powerful approach and way to go. And again, even with that, we didn't have business revenue at the time. We had plans and things like that, but all that stuff is true, right? So so you're talking about Ricky Bobby says you getting a business address and business email. Oh, so you're executing right now, Ricky Bobby. I love it. I love it. So and I hope Ricky Bobby that you are, again, my suggestion, right? So if you follow the instructions that I shared on some of these lives and things like that, you'll be in a decent spot. But I still suggest that you book a call with the team so that you don't miss any updated information, right? The banks change things about how they go about things, and you just want to be mindful of it, right? So you should be good, but if you're not already tapped in with the team, I would suggest you go to fundingmyfuture.net and really tap in to make sure that you got things straight, right? So yeah, so God's power says great work. I appreciate you. I appreciate you. We're going in sharing this information on this late evening, right? So Augie says, who are the top lenders for business funding? Right. Yep. So the top lenders, I would say in this case, when we're talking about this 0% business credit stacking approach, right? And I'm gonna be referencing this a lot because there's lots of ways to get funding, lots of different methods and approaches. But this one is one of the most powerful when you can get straight into it, right? Again, because if we're saying we remove all that red tape, all the things that you don't need that I talked about, and you can potentially do it very, very quickly, like in the next 30 days, if you meet this profile requirement, it's really, really important, right? So, so the top lenders, right? So, this is going to be, and I'm going to give you a quick sauce, Augie. I'm going to give you some quick sauce. So you can pull up a website called iBankNet. ibanknet.com, the letter I, right? So when you pull that, and I pay for this information, you guys, so please take advantage of it. So when you pull up that site, you can go by state. You can look up the state that you're in, and you can see the top banks and the top credit unions that have the most money. It's gonna basically organize them by the amount of funds that they have available to lend, right? So if you look at that, you basically can kind of get a clue to who is going to be the most, potentially the most lenient with being able to lend out different products, whether that's through credit cards or loans or different things like that. So that's kind of the shortcut way to do that, depending on which area you're in. Augie, let me know what state are you in, right? And everybody that's tapped in right now, where are you tuning in from? Let me know, right? Because again, this is why the consultation is going to be so important for you to book a call. Again, fundingmyfuture.net, or you can even text me and I'll send you the direct link. And that's going to be at 240, 240, 640, and then 2. All right, you can text me and I'll send it to you. So Ricky Bobby coming in from Texas, Augie's in California, right? So yep. So when you look up that website, right, like I said, there's going to be certain banks and credit unions, and you're going to see. And this is like the strategy if you just decide to just dig straight into it, which again it's kind of a decent amount of work, but you could do it. You can see, okay, well, which banks and credit unions, what would I want to target, and then see like what types of products do they have. Pretty Sonia says coming in from Nashville. Okay, all right, Tennessee. So you can see what types of things that they have and go for that, right? But in general, a lot of the bigger banks are going to have these products, especially that have 0% interest cards, right? Typically, the bigger the bank, the more room that they have to do stuff like this, right? So we're looking at Chase, we're looking at Bank of America, we're looking at Truist is a big one depending on which region that you're in. We're looking at I would say Capital One is a big bank, but I'll just give you this, that you want to typically you want to avoid Capital One when it comes to business credit, because they are going to report the business balances to your personal credit as well, right? And one of the main reasons for doing this is that we can navigate in this arena. Like I said, we can do different business moves and things like that without it impacting our personal credit, right? Because all this stuff is on the business side. So we are leveraging our personal credit to get our foot into the door and to get access to these really high limits on these business credit cards. But once it's there and once it's active, it doesn't have any other impact on our personal credit profile. So again, we can use as much of that as we want or as little of that as we want. And then on the personal side, everything stays intact. How do I know this? Because like I said, I've gotten over 500,000 for our household between myself and my wife, leveraging a specific strategy using multiple LLCs to be able to fund it and multiple like guarantors. And we've got balances that are on some of these cards, right? We've been in entrepreneurship for the past 4 years, real estate, and some things have gone well and some things have gone not so well, right? So just being transparent, like there's balances on some of these cards while I wait for things to pan out and move this here and do that here. Number one, we haven't had to leverage our personal credit at all. Number two, all those balances don't show up. So what does that mean? The last time I looked at my credit score, it was literally 850, right? Life Hurts, thanks for the follow. Jean Baptiste, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. So literally 850, 847, 843 on my personal credit, even though there's balances and some of the cards have high utilization. But that's how you can navigate things. That's how you can navigate things when you're operating that way, right? So we said God's power connecting from Nigeria. All right, we are worldwide. We are worldwide and live right now. So I appreciate you, brother. So again, this information, we want to be able to leverage it, because anybody can access this. Again, especially if you are operating or know people that operate in the United States, then you can tap into this. So you can leverage partnership, and we're going to talk about partnership as well, as far as how some ways that you can get into this. There's multiple ways to get into it. So August says, what type of business did you do when you started off? So for me, I was doing I was a personal coach, right? Personal development coach. That was my first business, and that also was doing real estate pretty much at the same time, right? So getting this entrepreneurship space, and I was operating business technically at like self-employed before I really started digging into it, because I'm a musician, first and foremost, and I was teaching private music lessons and working for churches and things like that. But I didn't know what I needed to know about like officially opening a business, and I didn't know anything about business credit or anything like that. And so when I started getting into some of these spaces, I learned about business credit, and I was able to leverage, these funds to be able to get into some amazing rooms, to learn lots of things about real estate and commercial real estate, multifamily, and personal development and coaching and things like that. So coaching and real estate was the first business that I started off with. And I definitely learned an awful lot, right? So how do you get into it? It doesn't affect your personal credit, right? So life hurts. Let's talk about this, right? So we're leveraging our personal credit profile. I'm going to go through the exact profile that you need, right, to be able to access this. So we're going to talk directly, like point by point, exactly what you need. But let me make sure, life hurts. Let me make sure that's the question that you're asking, right? So let me break down, why does this not impact your personal credit, right? So you are getting these typically these business credit cards, right? Again, there's other types of funding that our team, if you go to fundingmyfuture.net, you book a call with the team, our team can help across the board with pretty much anything that you need, right? So, and that might be, is it a business line of credit? Is it an unsecured loan? Is it an vehicle loan, equipment financing? Is it an SBA loan if you're trying to like buy a business or, acquire something or do something larger up to $5 million? Like, we can do all of that. Those other avenues are going to require some more things. Like, you're going to need tax returns, and you're going to need, sometimes business plans. In some case, you're going to need a proof of revenue and things like that, right? So if you have that, then you still need to tap in to be able to leverage it, and we can connect you in the best way possible. However, this is what I'm saying about the power of this other method when it comes to having a 0% interest. All of these we can access without any of that red tape, right? So if you have this profile, and if you have a business entity set up in the way that I'm about to explain, then you can access that 50K, 100K, 150K, just in that first round, right? And then we can actually rinse and repeat this every 6 to 12 months, right? Again, which is incredibly powerful. Mr. October, thanks for the share. And Mike Smith, thanks for sharing the live. You guys, I appreciate it. Please share this with as many people as you can, because this is real. It's literally life-changing information, right? It's life-changing because, again, because you can access it so quickly. And how long is it going to take you to save up $100,000? How long will it take you to save up 120, even 50,000? How long would that take you, right? And we're looking at, you can get that in the next 30 days if you're sitting on this profile, or if you use some of the other strategies that I'm about to talk about tonight, that it could be yours to be able to access, right? So Thomas Lindstedt, is that right? Thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. And thank you guys for the likes. And let's get into the information. So let me answer this question, Life Hurts. And let's go over again, why does this not affect your personal credit? Right. So if I have my personal credit, right, I'm leveraging the profile to be able to get into the door. So the banks are looking at who is behind this, right? So that we know we're about to give you $20,000 to access. We're about to give you 50,000. We're about to give you 15. Who is behind this, right? And this is why this is the fastest way to get into it, because the banks, once they see a profile in a certain way, then they'll let you in the door, right? So they're going to pull, this is the only impact on your credit to begin with. They're going to pull a hard inquiry on your credit report, right? In order to give you an approval on this business credit card, right? Now, here's the thing, is that, like I said, these business credit products do not show up on your personal credit profile. That means the account is not there, the utilization is not there, the history is not there, right? Because of that, any inquiry that you have on your profile that's not tied to an open and active account, you technically have the right and the ability to remove that inquiry from your credit file, right? So here's how we're doing this credit stacking approach, is we're able to go to multiple banks, right? And this is why the sequence and the strategy matters, because each bank pulls from a different bureau, right? And the more inquiries that you have on your report, the more banks start to look sideways at it. So we can strategically go to certain banks in a certain order that pull from certain bureaus, and we can say, okay, now we're going to go to a few banks that pull from Experian, right? And then we're going to go to a few banks that pull from Equifax. And when we go to those Equifax banks, they're not going to see those Experian inquiries, right? And then we go to a few banks that do TransUnion. When we go to TransUnion, they're not going to see those other ones. So we're kind of starting from a clean slate each time, and we stack it out properly, and we can get multiple cards ranging from 10,000 all the way up to 50,000, 60, 75 in some cases, right? And all that stuff adds up, right? So again, this is like super powerful. But what do we have? And now we have 6, 7, 8 inquiries on our report. But guess what we can do? We can literally go and wipe off all of those inquiries, wipe all the inquiries off of our report, and then rinse and repeat and do it again, right? So that's the crazy thing, is we can go back. Either we can go back with some of the same banks if we've leveraged our credit properly, used it and paid it down, or we can start to go with new credit unions and new banks, right? So hopefully that makes sense, right? So again, so these business credit cards, depending on the bank that you're working with, like I said, Capital One is gonna generally report to both, right? And that's kind of what we don't want, right? So they're going to report to both. But most of the ones that we go after, they only report on the business side. So the account doesn't show up, nothing else is there. So let me know if that makes sense. Life Hurts. Let me know if that makes sense. Again, you guys put your questions in the chat, right? I want to answer your questions. I'm going to go through the profile. I'm going to go through, some ways that we can leverage this and why this is so powerful, why you need to, be knowing about it either for yourself or for other people. I'm gonna go through that, but I want you guys to put your questions. What is the thing that you feel like is holding you back, or a myth that you heard, or does it work this way or not? I want you to ask it. Like I said, I paid money for this information, and I want you to take advantage of it, right? So thank you guys. Appreciate the follow. So I said two unknown Sibs. Thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. Good evening, Nat. What's up? Thanks for the follow, Harry. Appreciate you. All right, let's get into this, right? Dice, thanks for the follow. Yep. So Life Hurts. Yeah. So let me know if that makes sense. So you said upfront you need your personal credit. Yes, you need your personal credit upfront, right? So and again, when I break down this profile, you're going to know what type of profile that you need on your personal credit in order to access this, right? Now, I would just tell you that this is a commitment that is worthwhile to make, right? So some of you watching are going to be sitting on this profile and you're ready to go right now, and you should just be moving on it. Some of you watching are going to be not anywhere near this profile, and you say, okay, I don't have this, or I don't have anything built up, or I got this stuff on here, and you just need to start today to build it up. Because guess what? Once you have it, it unlocks. It's like almost unlimited, because again, you can rinse and repeat these things. It changes the things that you pay for in your personal life, your interest rates, and it changes everything to have a solid personal credit profile. So instead of just trying to think of, okay, well, how do I just navigate it without doing, let's just commit to do it, because everything else is going to be better. And then it's going to unlock almost permanently. It's going to unlock access to so many things, right? So we're going to talk about it again, the exact one. And I'm going to give you some moves that you can make. Even if you're not ready now, while you build things up, I'm going to give you some moves that you can make to push things forward, right? So I am going to I'm going to start with this profile, but I want to make sure, if you're just tapping in here, I know it's late for for some of us, depending on where you're tapping in from. But again, I'm putting my phone number in the chat. I want you to you can text me, and I will send you the direct link to be able to book a call with the team. That's the one thing that I would suggest that you tap in with, right? Is to make sure you get a call booked so you can look at your exact situation and your next step. Whether your next step is something in your credit profile that needs adjustment or needs optimization for funding, or if your credit is like all the way solid and now you're ready to just talk about, okay, what do we need to do either with your LLC, or we just need to go and get funding in the next 30 days, right? So that's the main thing I want to tap in with you, right? So Mr. October says, why wait? So 6 to 12 months for a second round and not right away after the inquiry removal. All right. So Mr. October, yes, you can. It depends on the institutions that we're going to. Right. So that's a good question, Mr. October. So you can, depending on if we're going to different institutions, then we can technically go and stack up and just go. As soon as the inquiries are gone, we can just go to some more people. Right now, these accounts not after too long, they do show up on your business credit profile, right? So sometimes some banks are looking at your business credit profile to see which accounts you have, when they were open, and things like that. This is why we sometimes do it in a sequence, right? And we have funding rounds where we go to multiple at the same time, right? So we can get a good amount. And then how you use those and how those season over time, sometimes that does have an impact. So that's like the only reason. But there are certain credit unions and are certain banks that you can go to that, hey, as soon as that's up, we just keep going, right? But I guess the question is, Mr. October, what is your plan? What are you going to do with the funds? How much do you actually need, right? And are you able to just execute with what you have while that time is passing, right? But that is a valid question. So you guys, again, put your questions in the chat. I see is that Damod King? Let me know. Travel Chick, thanks for the follow, you guys. All right, so let's get into these questions. I see Nelson the Realtor. Nelson the Realtor. Yeah, listen, if you're a realtor, you need to know this information because this can be super powerful for you, for your clients, your network. There's a lot of money that you can make from referring people. I'm gonna go into that, but this is definitely very, very powerful. Cosmic, thanks for the follow. Um, so Top floor Tony says having a trust inside of an LLC won't decrease my chances of funding, will it? No, it shouldn't. It shouldn't. But you, at some point, you're gonna need to, if you have that like really, really privatized setup, which is smart, in a lot of ways. At some point, you're gonna have to submit your information like to the banking institution. You know what I mean? So a lot of these banks, you have like the beneficial owner form and things like that that you have to fill out because they want to know like that is you and what's your information. So if you have that whole setup where things are protected, there's ways to work that out. And again, when you book a call with the team, or again, fundingmyfuture.net, when you book a call with the team, they're going to be able to walk you through, okay, how can we leverage what you have? Or, and we're going to talk about this strategy tonight, do we need to create a dedicated funding LLC? That is a super gem, right? That's like some of the latest sauce that is really working. Is do we need to create a dedicated funding LLC that's set up in a very specific way so that that LLC can get the max funding possible, and then it can fund our other businesses, right? So that's a really powerful strategy, right? So PDT says you need help. Let me know what you need help with, right? This is what we're here to talk about. All right, so here we go. So PDT, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. And Top Floor Tony, thanks for the follow. All right, so we're gonna dive into this, right? And I will be going back and forth and really reiterating the point of why this is so powerful, what you can use it for. Again, there's a lot of things that you can just pay directly for with these 0% cards. And we also have ways to be able to liquidate those cards into cash so that for things that you do need cash for, if it's like sometimes like a down payment or different things, you can do that as well in a way that is not showing up as a cash advance. So you're not paying like high interest rates, you're not paying a bunch of fees. There's ways to do that, right? So again, this is like super powerful to just open up the access to things that you might not have thought of before to be able to scale quickly, right? And to move things up. What's going on, Keith? What's up? Yeah, so to be able to scale quickly, and case in point is, do you have the mentorship, right? Do you have the team? Do you have the network and the access? Do you have marketing? Like some people, like you have a thing that you're offering, but it's just literally not enough people know about it. And if you had the right strategy, you could hire somebody that knew what to do, and you could combine that with ad spend, then that could change the whole game for your business. And where is that money coming from? It's a different thought conversation when you just have, I got 80K that I can use towards this purpose. And if that's going to change the trajectory of me being able to get 30K a month, or to book land like so many clients, then that's where it becomes an investment, and it really, really makes sense. And again, if we're talking about we're doing this at 0% interest, right, for 12 to 18 months, that's even better, right? So it's just this setup is really, really very powerful, right? So I said is that Kinkin? My Kinkin says what DTI ratio would be more favorable for a business credit? All right, so here we go. So DTI actually, for this process, DTI is not going to have that much impact. which again is another powerful thing, right? So, but in general, if you're at 30 to 35% is like in general kind of a cap where you want to be, right? But there are ways to be able to access it. And again, that's why I say you need to book a call with the team, right? Fundingmyfuture.net, or hit the link in my bio, or you can text me. I said 240 and I will send you the direct link, right? So they're going to be able to tell you, okay, well, what do we need to adjust? Because sometimes we don't need to adjust anything. We're going to talk about the profile, right? We are going to go through the profile, like exactly what do you need to be able to move this thing forward, right? So when we talk about utilization on your revolving credit cards, that's a much bigger impact than DTI overall. But depending on what you're going for and what your goals are, or if you're trying to get an unsecured loan or you're trying to get this or that, then the DTI may come more into play, right? So I appreciate that question, right? You guys put your questions in the chat. Put your questions in the chat. Like I said, I have paid solid money. I paid solid money for this. So Top Floor Tony says, I like triple net leases. Triple net's great. Triple net's great, right? So depending on how are you getting into that, right? And again, what is are you doing creative strategies to be able to acquire those things? And whatever is in between that strategy, the business credit can support that, right? Because do I need a down payment? You know what I mean? Or do I need to be able to, it's like now, if your exit strategy supports it, right? So this is a really important point, is that whatever you're doing, you want to make sure that you have an exit strategy of how am I getting the money back, within a reasonable amount of time, and 6 months, in 12 months. Because ideally that you're executing what you need to execute with these 0% periods, right? Because again, it's going to be 0% for 12 to 18 months. Now, there are ways to extend, there's the 0% to rehash it. There's different techniques that we can walk you through. But in general, I would say mentally, it's better to approach it in that way, to say, okay, well, whatever I do I have a plan that this money is going to come back in the next 6 months, in the next 30 days, ideally, or in the next 12 months, right? So what I wouldn't recommend to use it for is something that's like super long term, where it's like, okay, I'm dumping money into something and it's got a 5% return for the next 20 years. That's not, this is money that you want to be active with, right? So that we're going to say, okay, we're going to turn something around fairly quickly. Or if you are putting it into real estate or something like that, then are you able to do like a refinance or like a bird method or something to be able to get your funds out so that you can, move things forward? That's like the best setup. All right. So Ken says, try not to use all my cash for down payments for buy and holds. Yep. That can be a big one. Tony, thanks for the follow. Right. So yeah, so we don't want to use all your cash. Right. We don't want to use all your cash for that. And again, for the buy and holds, if you have some sort of exit strategy, so are you able to do a refinance, on that purchase, then definitely your down payments, you can pull that from business credit, right? And again, if you need, depending on your situation, like one of the lenders I work with, doing real estate, they wanted to see the money in your account for 60 days. You know what I mean? So technically, if you got funded today and had liquidated the funds that you needed into your account and then let it sit there for 60 days, if it was that lender that I was working with, then that would have satisfied it, because after the 60 days they weren't necessarily asking where it came from. It's just, okay, I got it, I'm ready to move forward, right? Because in that case, they're not going to like accept a credit card for you to pay. But again, there's ways to liquidate it, and if all the numbers make sense, then you're good to go, right? And again, that can be a super powerful thing. And just thinking about, okay, well, what might it look like to like people that are buying businesses, right? Like I told you, we can help with the SBA, right? So you can get an SBA loan, up to $5 million or 5.5 million if you're doing a commercial project. Get an SBA loan. And there's a lot of businesses, if you guys are not aware of this, you need to look this up. There's a lot of businesses that are going to be being sold, right? Because the baby boomers are retiring and aging, and they own these businesses, and they're going to be looking to offload them, right? Oh, top floor Tony, you say you ready to get into it? Let's do it. So they're going to be looking to offload these businesses. And just one quick example is if you want to buy a business using the SBA and that business is $1 million, right? The business is $1 million and the SBA is going to require a 10% down payment. So that means you need to come up with $100,000 to purchase a business. And you can get that $100,000 liquidated from your business credit, right? Which again, in the first round, we can get you 120K, 130K, 150, 100, so you can do that. And then for no money out of your pocket to be able to acquire that business. And in some of these cases, it's not far-fetched. Some of these businesses are already cash flowing on day one. They're cash flowing $20,000 a month. They're cash flowing $15,000. They're cash flowing $30,000 a month, $50,000. So that can be game changing, right? So let's get into this. Just for the sake of top floor, Tony, let me know if you still tapped in, and if you got your pen and your and your notes or whatever you got. And Ken, I hope that was helpful for you. That answers that. Yeah, let me know. But if you got your pen, let me know, because we're about to go into it. This is the exact setup that you need to be able to push things forward, right? The exact setup. Here we go. And thanks for the likes. This is a great time to share this with somebody, you guys. Darren Gordon, thanks for the follow. This is a great time to share this with somebody, right? Because this is life changing. Because if you are sitting on this, then you can access this like literally right away in the next 30 days. One of my recent clients, from the time that she booked a call with a team to the time that she had 95,000 that she could use for her real estate business, was 22 days. 22 days. Right. So this is like a very, very accessible, right? Very powerful. And thank you guys for the gifts. John, top floor Tony, thanks for the gifts. Let's get into it, right? And I appreciate the push, Tony. Appreciate the push. All right, here we go. Number one. So it's not just about your credit score. Your credit score is a good indicator, but it's not everything. We want to look at the profile. What is in this profile that is going to give us the access that we need, right? Because you could have a 700 plus credit score. You could have a 750, right? And still not have these elements that I'm about to tell you, because people do that and they think, oh, I'm good to go. And then they go and they try to apply and they're getting denied, right? Because they don't have everything that they need, right? So here we go. Number one, bullet point number one, get your pen or your phone note or whatever you got. Your credit card limits, right? Do you have at least $10,000 to $15,000 overall in your credit card limits? That means if you added all your cards up, is it more than 10,000? Ideally more than 15,000 at least. If you've got that, I want you to put check in the chat, right? I want you to put check in the chat. If you don't have that, I want you to put cards in the chat. Right now, here's the bullet point to number one is out of those cards, you need at least 2 of those cards with a $3,000 limit or higher. All right, brilliant minds. It says cards. Tony says cards. All right, so if you don't have that, don't fear, because there's ways that you can get into this and leverage it still right now, but you need to start building right now, right? And these cards, when you do get them, you want to be strategic about how you get them, because there are certain credit unions, certain banks that are known for giving out high limits on credit cards, personal cards, even if you're just starting out, if you set your profile up in the right way, right? And then why do we want a high limit to begin with? Because the business credit approvals are going to be based on our personal credit amounts, right? Ken says check. J. Perez says check. All right, cool. All right, so they're going to base our approvals on what we have on the personal side. Swanky Detailer, appreciate the follow. All right, so typically it's the business credit approvals are going to be higher than our personal amounts, right? There's like a multiplier on it, but they do base it on what you have. Lose Bins, thanks for the follow, and good evening, everybody. Let's jump in. Like I said, share this with somebody, because this is very, very powerful stuff, right? So so they're going to base it on what you have on the personal side. So if you only have like a $500 limit credit card on the personal side, they're not going to give you $25,000 business credit card, right? Ricky, thanks for the follow. Yep. Swanky detailer, you need this to expand your biz? Yep, 1000%. You can do that, right? And I'm gonna just shortcut. I'm gonna just shortcut to the to the extra sauce, right? So while you guys are listening to this, this is the profile that you need. And I just shared the first one, right? And Jared, thanks for the follow. I just shared the first point. That's one of the biggest ones. Your credit card limits. You have at least 15,000, maybe 10,000 overall in your credit card limits, right? If you don't have that, you need to start building up, and you need to go to book a call with the team, fundingmyfuture.net, right? Or hit the link in my bio, or you can text me 240 240 642, right? You can text me and I'll send you the direct link, because they're going to be able to tell you what exactly needs to go into your report. Because a lot of people do credit repair, but there's not everybody knows exactly what the banks are looking for to get the max funding, right? So as you're building it out, say, okay, well, what do I need? What do I need to do to build this out properly? And then you can lock in that way, right? So start building. Now, while you are building, here's a way you can leverage this, right? Information I'm about to share with you, and Top Floor Tony, hope you're still tapped in, right? The information I'm about to share with you, once you know this, you can leverage this in a few different ways, right? Ricky, thanks for the follow. And here's number one, right? So either you have it yourself and you're ready to just push on and go for it. But number two is you can leverage what's called a credit partner, right? This is so good. A credit partner where you don't have the credit yourself, but you find someone else that's sitting on this profile, and you link up with them, and we get them funded either on a new LLC that we can either create for them if they don't have one, or on your LLC, and we just put them on your operating agreement as a majority owner. And that's like a temporary thing because it's just an internal document. And then the bank is going to base their funding decision on that person. So now we can still get access to 100K, to 120K, 150K, 80K, right? And then you can still leverage that for whatever your business execution is. Again, to be able to expand, Swanky Detailer, to be able to expand. So you want to just start thinking out of the box to say, okay, well, if I don't have this right now, Kyle's telling me to build up now, because that's going to help my life just in general, right? So might as well just start building, because the time is going to go by fast. And I know I will not lie to Kyle and tell him that this year did not fly by, and yesterday didn't feel like January, and now we're in December. I will not lie to Kyle, right? So I will start working today, because life is just going to be much better across the board once my personal credit is tight. Number one, right? But while I build, I can leverage this now if I just find a partner. This could be a family member. This could be a somebody in another mentorship, group or something like that. Somebody that's busy, that doesn't have the time to be able to execute like you can. And there's ways to do it, right? Number three, way that you can capitalize on this information right now is, once you know these points about this profile, you can be referring other people that have this profile that need to get funding, and you can be getting paid out right now for those referrals, right? And a case in point is I sent a referral payment. Guess how much it was for one client? $2,252 for one client. And it took her all of 2 minutes to share this person's name with me. And she didn't lift another finger. We did everything else. And that's probably the easiest money that she made. So she could repeat that. If you did it, two times a month, once a month, 3-4 times a month, that can add up very, very quickly. So again, those of you that are watching, this is not you, it's still you, because this information is very important for you to know, for people around you to know, and you can still leverage it to your benefit, right? So let's go on, right? So we got bullet point number one. I got some checks in the chat, and I got some cards in the chat, right? So let's see. Let's make sure I didn't miss anything. So you have one business credit card, but only 7K limit. So Swanky Detailer. So how long have you had that business credit? Oh, you said business credit card. I'm talking about personal. We're talking about personal credit, right? So your personal credit limits, all added up, need to be more than 10,000 at minimum, ideally more than 15,000. And the sweet spot is really 30,000 to 100,000. Right? This is your personal credit cards. So let me know your answer. Is your answer updated based on that? Jared says, what about after a bankruptcy? So after a bankruptcy, and Lynn Sims, thanks for the follow, right? After the bankruptcy, Jared, we can still get into this, right? Depending on how long ago it was, but the team might need to go in and make sure that it's removed from the proper places, right? So that you can still move forward. Because even after the thing falls off, sometimes it's like still on the books in some random places. So you might still have to deal with that, because we don't want any negatives on the report. We're going to get to that, but we don't want any negatives. All right. So let me know if that worked, if that makes sense. So Swanky Detailer, you said 35K personal limits. You solid, right? Pretty P615, 17,000. You solid, right? Solid to at least get in the door. Now, out of that 17,000, Pretty P, do you have at least 2 cards that are a $3,000 limit or higher minimum? Ideally, you got some that are 5,000. You got some that are 10,000, right? Yep. And thanks again, Lynn. Slick said, you have 85K and an average of 730 credit score. Explain what I do. So here's, in a nutshell, we're talking about we can get you access to 100K, 120K, 150K with no red tape, no tax returns, no business revenue in the next 30 days if you're sitting on the right profile. That's what we're talking about, right? And this stuff can be used to expand your business. This is where we're at. Right. So good. So Pretty P. So you're good. Like I said, some of you, when we go through this, I would suggest you book a call with a team, fundingmyfuture.net, or hit the link in my bio. It takes 90 seconds to just fill out the little information and get a slot booked. And either you're going to be looking at what's left in your credit, or we're going to be looking at what do you need to do to get funded as soon as possible. Right. All right. So here we go. So you got your pin out. We already did number 1. We're going to zip through the rest of them a lot faster. Tony. Top floor, Tony. I know I've been talking, but it's important to get the nuance of this across, right? But we're going to zip through the rest of this. So number 1 was, are your credit limits, if you add up your credit limits, is it over $15,000? Ideally, you're in the sweet spot of $30,000 to $100,000. That's like the real sweet spot, but you can get in the door if you got 10 to 15,000, and then at least 2 cards with a $3,000 limit or higher. All right. Thanks for the follow, Pretty P. M. Bellamy, thanks for the follow. You guys, please share this with somebody. Lynn Sims is an authorized user count. It does and it doesn't, but not towards this, right? Not towards this requirement of having the credit cards. We need these credit cards in your name, which is why I say, if that's not you, don't fear. I just need you to start taking action and to start building up. And the best way to build up, again, is under the consultation of the team that can tell you, like, these are the exact things that you need to do. Let's add this, so you'll be the best in the best place possible, right? Or we can leverage it those other ways that we talked about, like with the credit partner, or making referrals and affiliate money, right? So here we go. Number 2, your utilization, right? And thanks for the share, in Bellamy. Thanks for the share. This is a great time to share this with somebody, right? Lynn says your fiance meets the requirements. There we go. And again, I leveraged this information, and in my journey, we did, myself and my wife and multiple LLCs, 2 LLCs, to be able to fund. And that's how we got up to $500,000 using this method, same exact method. So if that's not you, and that's your fiance, or again, if you got a business partner, you got a family member, or somebody in a mentorship group that you can partner with, as long as you know, again, once we're getting into this, you got to be able to execute on the business, right? Whatever it is that you're doing, you got to make sure that you're tapped in and ready to execute, and that you have a solid plan. And ideally, you got a solid mentor that's going to tell you how to succeed, how to, all that stuff, right? So let's keep going. Number 2, your utilization, write this down. Your utilization needs to be under 30%. This is across the board and on each individual card, right? That's the bare minimum to get you in the door. Lose Benz, thanks for sharing the live. That'll just get you in the door, right? And ideally, though, we're under 10% across all cards and across each one, right? Now, if you got that, I want you to put check in the chat. If you don't have that, then I want you to put utilization in the chat, right? Just so we know where we're tracking. Now, if utilization is the only thing holding you back, I got a hack for you that I can share if somebody wants to know it, where we can deal with our utilization without having to um, necessarily come out of pocket or do anything else. There's some ways we can deal with it. I can share it if we want, right? So here we go. So let's go through the rest, and then you'll be able to tell, is the utilization the only thing, or is there something else? All right. Next, your inquiries. Number 3, your inquiries need to be 3 max per bureau. And ideally, when you check this, you have as few as possible in the most recent 6 months. So if your inquiries are older than 6 months, it has a little bit less impact on the funding decision. But anything that's in the recent 6 months, we want to be very careful about how many that we have. So if you're thinking about applying for stuff right now, you might want to pump the brakes if you're thinking about getting funding in any form or fashion, right? Because this stuff does matter as far as the timing of it, right? Pablo says, "Yep, you got $100 right now. How can I turn it into 300 tomorrow?" That is the question. that is the question, right? And if you got 100, that you can turn into 300. Can you do that with 10,000 and turn it into 30? Can you do that with 100,000 and turn it into 300,000? Right. So that is the question that's kind of layered behind all of this, right? So let's keep going. So no increase. So you're solid, Lynn. All right, here we go. Next number. This is number 4 now. Do you have at least 10 primary accounts on your credit file? Do you have at least 10 primary accounts on your credit file? Right. And these are accounts in your name. This is not just credit cards, across the board, mortgages, student loans, auto loans, store cards. Do you have at least 10? All right, 7 to 10. All right, so that's number 4. Here we are. We're coming around the mountain. Number 5 is the average age of your credit. Right. Like I said, who said that? Top floor 20. You got 8. So we might want to add a few more, but 7 to 10 is like we're decent. But the more the merrier, right? Because the banks want to see that you have handled multiple different types of cards and different types of accounts. So the more the merrier, right? So your average age needs to be at least 4 years or more, 4 to 5 years or more. So if you look at your average age on your credit monitoring or your credit report, is it 4 to 5 years or more? If you have that, then you're solid. If you got 2 years or more, you can squeeze in the door. If you're under 2 years, then that's going to be an issue that we need to deal with. And like I said, I got some hacks that I can share with that. So if you got that, I want you to put check. If your average age is below 2 years, I want you to put age in the chat. Right. Let's see. Top floor Tony says, Can I authorize user help with the credit? Yes, it can. I'm going to break down exactly how it can help and how it can't help, because it's important to understand the difference. Right. All right. So I'm just making sure. Pablo, you said you lost 5K in a sports bet. Ooh, yeah. We gotta get into investing in value add business, right? Something that is a little bit more solid is what I would say, right? But let's keep going. Let's keep going. And we're gonna loop around to these questions, right? We're gonna loop around these questions. So last. So this is number 6 now. We need no negatives. So no late payments, no collections, no charge-offs, no bankruptcy. And the only caveat is if your late payment was in the last older than 2 years, then we can squeeze in the door. Right? So if you got that, then put check. If you don't have that, I want you to put derogatory in the chat. Now, let's somebody score yourself. If you got check marks across the board, I want you to put ready in the chat. Put ready in the chat. And then we're going to talk about if the only thing that you have was utilization, or the only thing that you have is age, right? There's things that we can do fairly quickly to be able to address that. And if the only thing you have is some derogatories, then we can start to work on that as well. All right, so where are we at? Who's ready? Somebody put ready in the chat. if you got check marks on all of those. Right. So pretty P. So you said you got a late less than 2 years. So that's why we're going to just start today to work on your credit to be able to get that taken care of, to get it removed, or just set up in some way so that we can eliminate it. So again, that's why I would say book a call with the team, fundingmyfuture.net, because if that's the only thing holding you back, a lot of our clients that need help with credit are seeing results in the first 90 days. Right? There's never any guarantees with credit and credit repair. However, a lot of our clients are seeing results in the first 90 days. So that could be, if it's saying 90 days from now, that's what, that February, and you could be set and you got some other plans together. We went through the holiday that went by pretty quick. And by February, you're saying now we're ready to access 100K, 120K. That's a good deal. All right. So that is literally the blueprint. So we're going to go back to some of these hacks and things if you guys want to hear about it. But that's literally the blueprint. Right. I'm going to go back one more time. Your credit cards and your card limits, at least 10 to 15,000. Your utilization under 20%. I mean, under 30%. Right. Your inquiries at 3 max per bureau, ideally 0. Right. In the last 6 months. And you have at least 7 to 10 primary accounts on your credit file. You have at least 4 to 5 years on your average credit age, 2 years at the bare minimum, and no negatives, no late payments, no collections, no charge-offs, no bankruptcy. If you got that, you are literally sitting on $100,000 in the next 30 days. 120, 150, 80, 50, whatever it might be, whatever you need to be able to execute your business. Right? Gary Harris, thanks for the follow. Was that pretty digital princess? Thanks for sharing. All right, so let's make sure. So somebody said utilization is the only problem. Let me make sure I didn't miss anything. Right, we're gonna talk about authorized user, top floor Tony. You guys put your questions in the chat. Right, I'm getting to everybody to make sure you guys are tight with this information. Right. So let's go. So somebody said, what if you have more than 4 years, but your LLC is not up to date, right? So here's a few options. We can either get your LLC, meaning you didn't pay it, user 256. Are you saying you didn't pay it and it's not in good standing? So if you pay it and jump back in, then that can be one way. Or we can set up a new LLC that's designated for funding and then get funded off that. Right now, it depends if you want to leverage that 4-year-old LLC for other types of products, right? Because again, it's not just the business credit cards, like the 0% cards, but if you want to get lines of credit, if you're trying to get a term loan or you're trying to get some of these other things, then that age can be important. So it might be worth it to say, okay, I got to catch up and get this back in good standing. So I'm gonna invest the money to be able to do that because I want to use this age to be able to get into some of these other things. And maybe do you have tax returns and do you have, business revenue and things like that? If you've got that and that's part of the strategy, then good. But you don't have to worry about that because we could technically open an LLC tonight and you still get funded 100K in the next 30 days, 120K, 150K, still possible. All right. So utilization is the only problem, but we'll get credit inquiries to clear out everything using balance transfers. Okay, Lynn, let's talk, Lynn, before you jump. Let's talk, Lynn. All right, so here's the utilization hack. You guys, this is crazy stuff. Again, it's a good time to share with somebody, just in case somebody comes in and hears this nugget. All right, so here's with utilization. Now, if you have your credit score and your credit profile for the utilization is based on your revolving credit card amounts, right? So revolving credit card balances and your limits. Now, what it's not based on is installment products, right? So any loans and things like that. That's why if you have a mortgage or something, that's not showing up on your utilization and saying, okay, you're using up 90% of your mortgage, doesn't show up like that, right? So this is what we can do is for our revolving cards, let's just say, for example, we have $15,000 in our balances on our credit cards. 15,000, right? And let's say our utilization is high, 90%, right? And our credit score is somewhat lower just because of that. What we can do is we can just shift that over to another debt vehicle type that's more like an installment product, right? And eliminate that immediately. So what we can do is we can get a personal loan for $15,000. Again, our team knows the right connects to be able to do that fairly straightforward, right? And that can happen in the next 24 to 48 hours. You get the personal loan. You use that money to pay off the credit cards. So the 15,000 goes down to zero, right? And now you have the debt didn't change. We didn't come out of pocket any necessarily, right? Now we have this $15,000 loan that we have, personal loan. But what happens? Our credit score is going to immediately jump through the roof because now our utilization has changed. The utilization counts for at least 30% of your credit score. So between 300 score and 850 score, that's 550 points. So we're talking about 150 to 180 points that this can affect for your utilization. So that jumps through. And then now guess what? Now we're ready for funding, because if that was the only thing holding us back, we can now go and get funded 100K, 120K, 80K, right? And then we can effectively either liquidate or balance transfer or do different things to be able to move that balance from the personal loan over to the business credit. So now we just went from credit card interest at 29% or 25% or whatever the case. And now we moved all the way over to 0% interest on the business credit. Not only that, but wait, there's more. Not only that, but because it's on the business credit side, that account and the balance and everything does not show up on our personal credit at all, right? So now that factors into a DTI or whatever you want to call it. It just doesn't even exist on our report anymore. So that strengthens our profile even further. I hope you guys wrote that down. I hope you guys wrote that down. Let me know if you have a question, if that makes sense, right? Because that's one of the most powerful things. This is why a lot of people that are in that situation are literally one move away from being able to access funding, and they just didn't know it because you don't know what you don't know, right? You don't have to pay anything down. If you have the money to pay it down, then that can be a smart move to just say, okay, I'm just going to knock it out. But you don't have to. In a lot of cases, if you just can shift it to the right product, right? Shift it to a different place, and now you're ready to move forward. It can change the entire game just with that one move. And again, that can happen in 24 to 48 hours. And then you just got to wait for however long your credit card statements, come, and for those balances to report. And then once you do that, then you're solid. Right. So let me know if that makes sense. Thank you guys. Thank you guys for the for following and for sharing. All right. So let's go through. Let me see. Let me just make sure I got all the questions. All right. So you said the utilization is the biggest limit card. Yep. So we got the utilization hack. So hello, Freak Vicious says I have 725 Equifax, 3,000 in spend limit, 4 years age. All right. So somebody tell me, according to what we just learned, are they ready for funding? Right. 3,000 in limits. And is that total or is that just on one card? Somebody tell me, are they ready or not? Because again, you should be able to spout this stuff off. It's fairly simple. You should be able to spout this stuff off. And that's why it's so powerful, because then when you come across people that might be in need of funding, if you can just almost pre-qualify them there and say, okay, you have this, don't have that, and then they're ready to go, and that could be your referral. So somebody tell me who's been paying attention. Is hello Freak, are they able to get funding directly with that? Right. So trade lines, and let's see who got this. Like I said, I want to make sure we don't miss anything. Right. Bree, you said, can you think you can buy SVJ off of a trash cleaning business? What is that? What's a SVJ? Let me know what you mean by that. All right. The answer is probably yes, but let me know. All right. So we talked about utilization. Like I said, that's a big one, you guys. That's a major hack that you need to be aware of. And let's talk about trade lines real quick. So a few people asked about authorized user trade lines. So let's break this down. So again, share this with somebody. I appreciate the likes, you guys. Keep hitting the like button. That just helps. If you've gotten any value from this at all, then send a gift, because that it helps the algorithm to know that this is good information that other people need to know about. I did not share that. In general, I believe in abundance. I want everybody to win. I want you to be able to leverage this information to grow your legacy, your family, your freedom, so that you would be able to just operate in your God-given purpose. Like that's really the baseline for my preference. And I want that for everybody. And in general, also the next generation in particular, I want them to be more equipped, more, with all the tools and the resources and things to be able to do it better and faster than we have. So for that reason, I have committed personally to donate and reinvest a portion of my profit towards a fund that's going to be helping young entrepreneurs to get into business, to get into wealth creation, into financial literacy, into mentorship, to be able to push things forward. So if you're working with me in any way, then just know that's a part of the equation. But like I said, I do believe that everybody should access this information, especially because it's so accessible and so powerful. And it's literally just a formula. Once you know the formula, then you can access it. Right? Super powerful. All right, so let's go on. So again, I'm just scrolling through this to make sure I didn't miss anybody's question. So what if you don't show a lot of profit on your tax return? GFI is the company. What if you don't show a lot of profit on your tax return? Guess what? In this approach, you don't have to submit tax returns. You don't have to submit tax returns in this approach. When we're talking about the 0% credit stacking method, super powerful. Now, if we need to get into the lines of credit, the term loans, unsecured loans, and things like that, then that might play more of a part, right? And this is both for your personal and business, right? Don't have to show this. These are no document programs, so you can get into this without having to submit any of that. All right, so here we go. Let me know. So how can you qualify for the loan if you have high utilization? All right, so we went through that. Hopefully that answered your question. Let's see. In your program, is it required to go in a bank to request funding? Sometimes. All right, so sometimes we're able to. What's up, Ty? What's up? Sometimes you're able to, and this is a part of the strategy and why it's important to work with the team, because we know certain banks, it's going to help to go into the branch to be able to get the max approval, right? Other banks, it don't matter at all. So we're going to just do those online, right? So we need to know which is which, so we're not wasting any time, wasting any energy, and we can guide and coach if you do have to go in on how to do it, what to say, what not to say. We can do all that. All right. So let me know if that answers that question. J. Perez. All right. So is it a debt consolidation? Yep, pretty much. Yeah. So that personal loan and debt consolidation essentially is kind of the same thing. Right now, there are some advantages of, not considering it a debt consolidation. There's different types of loans that you can get, and people use this for different purposes, but in general, that's what we're talking about. Elizabeth, thanks for the follow. Appreciate you. All right, so Pretty Pete 615 says, say it one more time. Does anybody need me to explain? And Pretty Pete, let me know what you're asking about. Is this the utilization hack you're asking about? I'm catching up on the chat. All right. The 50K loan is on the business, Lynn. So you said that 15K loan that we got was a personal loan that we got initially to be able to deal with this initially. All right. So you guys, let me know if I need to go through this one more time or if you're solid on it. All right. Let me know. And J. Thanks for the follow. So we have no business credit, only one credit card. All right. So we talked about the requirements there. Yep. Let's go through. Yep. Yeah. So Hello Freak Baby said, said you don't want to apply for more credit cards. So again, we're going to strategically apply for credit cards because the authorized user trade line is not going to do that part. So let's pause and talk about authorized users real quick. Okay. So the authorized user trade line is a powerful thing, but there's certain things that it does do and certain things that it does not do. Right. Let's talk about what it does do. It has a significant impact on two categories. Please write this down. Has a significant impact on two categories. One is your average age of your credit. Two is your utilization. Right? So you can add somebody's card, and if your average age is below a year, and you add somebody's card that has a 20-year history, and that changes your average and bumps it up to 5 years or 6 years or something like that, that can significantly change how the computer views you when you first get into the system with the bank, and can significantly change your approvals. Right? So that's a big one. So, and you can, if you have for people that don't understand this, is that when somebody has a credit card and they just add you as an authorized user, right? This could be a family member that just has a card that they're sitting on, that's got good history and, a high limit, they don't use it that much. It's got a low utilization, and those factors get on your credit report, and it has that impact on that average age. It also has an impact on your utilization. So across the board, if somebody's got a $20,000 card and that gets added to your profile and that shifts your utilization percentage, then that can be a benefit, right? What it does not do is does not take the place of the requirement to have that 10 to 15,000 minimum of credit card limits that are in your name. And those two credit cards that are at least $3,000 limit or more, minimum. It does not do that. Right? You might hear people talk about getting primary trade lines. It's a gray area, and it's very sketchy, right? Both from the point of legality, but also the people that offer those, it's very uncertain whether it's going to work. Right? Again, I'm in a lot of these groups and studying this, and I hear this information a lot. So there's not very many that are successful, right? So that's why I say just build it up the right way now, and then in the future, you'll be set up. But then also now you can start leveraging these other avenues. Like I said, you can be making money off referrals right now, or you can leverage a credit partner right now. So that's the way that I would say to approach that. All right. So let me go back. Let me go back. How do you move it to the business with the new funding? All right, Lynn. So you said, and thanks for the gifts, Treese. I appreciate the gifts. All right, thank you guys. Again, please share this with somebody. Thanks for hit the like button. Lean on it for a while, because again, that helps the algorithm to know that this is good information. I am here. I don't know where you guys are. Some of you guys are tapped in from, but I'm here in Maryland, and it is late. As I say, late 30. As it might as well be morning here. But I'm here because I want to share this information with you. I want you to have it so you can push your life forward. That's why we're up in here. All right, DMV, what's up, Pretty P? DMV, let's get it. Yep, thanks for the shares, you guys. Isaac, thanks for the follow. Yep, Detroit, you know what's up. All right, so how do you move it to the business? So let's talk about that. So you're going to, there are some cases where you can do a balance transfer. Most of the time, we're going to be liquidating the funds off of the card into cash, and then we're able to pay off the personal loan in that example that I just gave. All right, so again, this is why this is powerful, because when you leverage that liquidation, it fills the gaps of anything that you couldn't do otherwise. Now you just have to factor in some of the costs of that into your plan, because we have connections to companies and methods to be able to liquidate it just directly, clean and compliant. You don't have to worry about it. And if you want to do the legwork, there's some other ways to be able to liquidate. And you can research it, but it does take a lot of back and forth and a lot of doing that most people maybe don't want to do. But there are some other ways to be able to liquidate funds off of a card just into cash, and you can use that. Um, Again, there's some scenarios where you can do a transfer, but not all the time. All right. So you said pretty P. So you missed where the 15K comes from to clear up and take down the utilization. All right. So here we are. The 15K, pretty P, was a personal loan that we got. All right. So we got a personal loan. Like I said, the team can help. If you go to fundingmyfuture.net or click the link in my bio, it takes just a few seconds to fill out the information and get a call book for your situation. Right. Everybody's situation is different. This is why this is valuable. Right. Get a call booked, but we can help to line that up. If that was your issue, if that was the only issue, to say, okay, these are the lenders we can go to. We can get a personal loan in the next 24 hours for 15K, and now we have a loan. The debt doesn't change. We still owe it, right? In the meantime, but we use those funds to pay off the cards. Now it's shifted over. Even if you stop there, you would be paying less because the personal loan interest is typically almost always lower than the credit card interest. So even if you stop there, you'd be paying less. You could leave it there and just do what you need to do. But the further step is, again, you can get that business credit at 0% and then be ready to shift it over there. And then the only question is, okay, now what am I going to do with what I have left with my remaining 80K or my remaining 100K? What am I going to do with that to be able to make new money? Right? If you don't have that question answered, then this is going to be a struggle for you. This is really for people that have an idea, and ideally you have a mentor or you have a pathway, a blueprint lined up to say, if I got access to this money, I would use it in this way, and I would be able to make new money off of it. If you got that, and I can do that, make that money in the next 30 days, ideally, the next 6 months or the next 12 months. If you got that, then this is a great fit. Again, because it opens the doors completely. Let me know if that makes sense. Let me know if that makes sense. And I want to make sure I didn't miss any. So I'm gonna go back and make sure I can catch up. All right. So we talked about utilization, right? We talked about debt consolidation. Yep. Let's go through. Just making sure we're good. Again, you guys, please share this live with somebody. Right? Share this with somebody. Because it's a Lambo. Okay. Bree, is Bree still around? So can you buy a SVJ off of a trash cleaning business? Yeah, you could do that. You could do that. You'd have to navigate it in the right way, but you can definitely get a especially if you have current income and things like that. We might have to build your business credit score in order to get a direct auto loan. Or again, you could liquidate, if you got 150K, you could liquidate it to be able to just buy it outright if you wanted to, depending on what you're going to do with it. All right. Do you go after no personal guarantee accounts and actually money or trade lines? Right. So no personal guarantee and actual money. Yeah, no personal guarantee. This is a thing that exists, but the way to get into that, this is the best pathway to get into no PG funding, is to leverage this 0% strategy. I'm going to tell you exactly why. Right. Because a lot of people talk about the no PG, but again, if you think about it from the bank's perspective, if they're going to give you $15,000, $20,000, $25,000, $40,000, right, and you have it on an entity that technically you could just walk away from tomorrow and nothing else happened, they're going to be a lot tighter with that, right? Which is why they're always going to be, even if it's no PG, no personal guarantee, they're always going to be looking at your personal credit to be able to determine what amount should you get, what terms that you get. So it's like you can't really get away from it. There's some accounts that don't hold a personal guarantee, but in order to get you in the door, they're looking at your personal profile anyway. But a lot of times those limits are going to be a lot lower because the banks are going to be more tight and more strict with that. Let me know if that makes sense. Ellison, let me know if that makes sense. All right. So this is why we're leveraging our personal profile to get into it. Now here's where this leads into the bigger no PG funding later. Because when we talked earlier about your comparables on your personal credit, like I said, the higher limits that you have on your personal cards, that's going to determine the high limits that you get on the business cards, right? So banks look at what you currently have to determine what you're going to get next. That makes sense, right? So when we talk about the business credit score and your business credit profile, right? So a lot of times when you hear people say, okay, we're going to do no PG and we're going to build up our business credit score in order to access these things. And they tell you, okay, we're going to get some business trade lines. We're going to get some net 30 accounts. We're going to go to Uline. We're going to go to Granger and Quill, and we're going to build up these different things, right? When you do that, you're going to get these limits of $500, of $1,000 from Uline, you know, because you're just starting out, and they can't trust you with that much because it's literally nothing that they're leaning on, right? And then you're building that up little by little, and you get these gas cards, and maybe you get some store cards eventually. But if you're trying to get like cash credit, it's a way down the road, and the limits are typically lower. But if we do the 0% stacking method and we get approved for 120K, and that's broken out between, you got a $10,000 card here, you got a 25 here, you got a 40,000 here, you got a 30 here, you got a 15 here, and those accounts are what show up on your business credit report. Now you're starting on a different foot, where it's like, okay, this looks like a strong profile because this business has access to these $15,000 lines, $20,000 lines, $40,000 lines. And if you're managing those well, even if you decide to build out your business credit further by going back to the trade line, the net 30 accounts and stuff, the limits that they're going to give you are going to be a lot higher because it's based on what is currently in your report. So you're actually able to leverage this into no PG funding better if you start with this path. I don't know if Ellison is still here, but that was a gem, right? So let me know if that makes sense, right? Again, I'm just going through and catching up on the questions. You guys put your questions in the chat. All right, put your questions in the chat. Do I have a YouTube, Trees? Yes, I do have a YouTube channel, right? You can look up Funding My Future, or you can text me. I'll send it to you directly. 240-240-642. Right? You can text me and I will send it to you. You can look up my name, or you can look up Funding My Future, right? And I do break down a lot of these concepts and things like that, but I'm here now. So if you got questions, you can ask the questions. All right. So let's keep going. Tiffany, thanks for the share. Yep. Kid Leah, thanks for the share. Yep. Here we go. So all right, let's go. Do we add trade lines better than trade line supply? Okay, so trade line supply is a decent option, right? And what's better is only going to be like, are you going to pay a little bit less, because as far as the quality of the trade lines that you're going to get, trade line supply is solid there. But if you work with somebody directly, or there might be another company, you just want to be mindful of the bank that you're doing, right? So there's certain banks that are known for reporting the trade lines to the bureaus, right? Knowing which banks are going to report consistently, that's the important thing, right? Because you might get a trade line from somebody from a random bank or credit union, and like, okay, this is about to be up, but they don't report, or maybe they wait 90 days before they report, so that's just something that you want to be mindful of. So the ones that you'll see on there is like Chase, Bank of America, Capital One, Barclays, some Discover. Those are the safest ones. And then anecdotally, there might be other banks that, okay, this one does report as well. You just want to be mindful of that, right? Doja Mula says, follow the signs that life gives you. I appreciate that. Right? What does your personal credit have to be? G Money. If you're still in here, so our team here should be able to tell you what your personal credit needs to be. I will loop around for you to talk about it, right? But everybody should be able to spout off these requirements. You should know at least 2 or 3 of them to say, what does your personal credit need to be? And it's not your personal score, right? The score is cool, but the profile is way more important. Once you have the profile, you're probably going to have the score, but sometimes you can have the score and not have the profile, right? All right, here we go. Here we go. I'm catching up. I'm catching up. Yep. P Dog, thanks for the follow. How do you get the link for the personal loans? Right. Gotti's. Yeah. So you need to book a call with a team because we're gonna know what is the most up to date information that you can take advantage of. So again, hey, what's up? What's up, Camille? Right. You're gonna look up the most up to date information, and you're gonna go to fundingmyfuture.net, book a call with a team, and you can get tapped in with the personal loan. Right. So there's some that are frequently used, that I can share. And again, with this process, because of that hack that I just shared with you, that opens things up for the personal loans that we don't necessarily have to worry about whether or not we're getting the best terms. There's some loans, even if your credit is lower or your situation is a little different, you can get a less favorable personal loan that has high interest rate. Because if we're going to get funding in the next 30 days, if that's the only thing holding you back, if we're going to get funding in the next 30 days, then the interest is not even going to have much chance to even kick in. Right. So that opens that up significantly. All right. So let's keep going. Yep. Lynn, you say you need this. You need to lock in. Has anybody locked in yet? Book a call with the team, you guys. Yep. I think we got at least one or two people that are taking action right now. It's a free consultation call, you guys. It's a free consultation. I don't know if I mentioned that. So you're going to walk away with value just either way. Walk away with value, walk away with information, awareness about where you are, what needs to happen. But yeah, that free consultation is going to be the next thing. Yep. Paul Carlson, thanks for the follow. They'll discuss the fees on the call too, right? And I would just tell you that in general, this is going to be, a lot of people will charge up front, $15,000, $30,000. Like I said, I've been around, I've been a client, before I started helping people with this. So I've been a client, I've seen the different things. Paul, thanks for the gift. Appreciate that. People will charge 15, 30,000, 10,000, up front for this type of thing. And you don't necessarily know what you're going to get. But the way that we're going to do it is it's going to be a performance-based thing. So if we don't get you funded, then you're not going to be responsible for paying. Right. So I will tell you that in general, there's going to be typically a small deposit once you're lined up, but it just helps because also you don't have to come up with the money up front. So we're using the bank's money to actually do the service, and then using the bank's money to do your business. Right. And so if we got this at 0% interest, now we're not even paying interest on it either. So you can pay your fee with the credit that you got. That's like the best setup to me. All right. So Paul says you're seeking a business loan. Your current issue is your personal credit has recently dropped. All right. So we can help with that. And Paul, we can talk about what are the ways to be able to impact that. Right. And I don't know if was it because of a derogatory or was it because of utilization? If you missed the utilization hack, I hope you didn't miss it. So that there might be some ways to do it. But again, the best thing to do would be to book a call with a team, because we can help. If you need help with your credit, then we can help with that. If you need help with funding, we can help with that too. So when you book, depending on what's going on in your profile, you're either going to meet with a credit advisor or you're going to meet with somebody that's talking about funding directly. All right. So you if you want to share what is going on with your credit, Paul. But again, since we know so many options, we might be able to connect you with something that you hadn't thought of yet, as far as to be able to still serve your need for the business loan, depending on the amount that you need, all that. All right. We just hit 3:00. We're at 8,000 likes. Let's you guys hit the like button, share this with somebody. Again, if this is valuable for you, thanks to those of you that share gifts, but share a gift. I'm really giving you all that I got this evening, turn morning. Because like I said, I want you to have the information so you can push your life forward. You know, just move things up in a significant way. So I think it would be wise for me to get to sleep soon, but I am kind of fired up right now, and I do want to go through the LLC structure at least once. If anybody needs me to go back through the utilization hack that we shared, or just the what's the profile that you need, right? For those that just joined in, let's at least recap the profile again. The people here that are now certified underwriters should be able to tell, okay, what is the profile that we need? You should be able to just spout it off, right? But your personal limits, your credit card limits, right? Your credit card limits need to be $10,000 to $15,000, right? 10 to 15,000 minimum, all added up, and then 2 cards at least with 3,000 or higher minimum. Your utilization below 30%, ideally below 10%. Your increase 0 to 3 increase max per bureau, especially in the last 6 months, right? Your number of total accounts that you have on your report, 7 to 10 is the minimum. Your average age on your credit needs to be 4 years or more, 4 to 5 years. If you got 2 years, you can squeeze in. If it's under 2 years, we got to work with it. And then no derogatories, no late payments, no collections, no charge-offs, no bankruptcy. If you got that, you are literally sitting on 100K, 80K, 120K. That's the one. So if anybody needs me to loop back around, I will do it. Otherwise, I will jump into this LC structure real quick before we wrap. Yep. So that was the same thing Isaac said. So you had good personal credit, but it recently took a dive. Yeah. So it depends. You're gonna need to bring something to the table, right? You need to bring something to the table. So if you have business revenue, you can still get certain types of funding with just off your business revenue. If you got 10,000 a month that you can show in the last 6 months consistently, at least 10, 15, 20, the better. You can get funding off of that. It's not going to be 0% interest, but you can still get funding off of that. If you're bringing collateral to the table, if you got real estate properties, if you got life insurance, if you got stock portfolio, there's different ways you can leverage that into different funding and lines of credit and things like that. But this credit profile is one of the most accessible ones. This is why I'm harping on it so much. It's one of the most accessible that you can access. So if it took a dive, we just need to know, okay, what do we need to do to get it back up? And that's why I say book a call with a team, fundingmyfuture.net. Hit the little link. Just takes a few seconds to fill out. There's a few seconds to fill out, and you get your call booked and just say, okay, what do we need to do to move forward? And then just get the ball rolling. I said that time is going to go by. It's going to fly by. All right. And you're going to look up, and it's going to be 3 months from now. We'll be mid next year. And I don't want you to be kicking yourself like, man, I should have just started. Just start. That time's going to go by, and you're going to be thankful that you poured into yourself, because that credit is going to change. It's going to change everything. All right. So, yep. So Paul said your business statements show revenue. Yeah. So again, the team's going to be able to talk with you, Paul, about what you have and what you can leverage across the board, whether that's the 0% approach that we're talking about, or whether it's something else, whether it's your revenue. All right. All right, here we go. So how to book a call with the team, Gotti's. Again, go to fundingmyfuture.net, or you can text me if you want the direct link, and I'll just send it to you. You can text me 240 640 2. And I'll send you the link as soon as we wrap here. I'll send it to you. But you can just go straight through. All right, here we go. Any other questions? And Gotti's, thanks for the follow. All right, so P Dog said need to level up. Personal credit is a 530 and a 9 to 5. What I need to do to start today, book a call with the team. That's going to be the fastest thing to say, okay, what out of all the things that I could do, what was the fastest way to deal with this? Because you might need some things fixed and removed from your credit, but you also might need some things added to your credit to be ready for funding. That's the best way to get both in one swing. Right? One thing you've been thinking about a lot is your credit score right now, 632, and your goal is 700. Herschel. Yep. Yeah. Goal. Yeah. That's a good goal. And we want to look at the profile. So we want to think about these factors that I just shared and compare anything you're thinking about against this. All right. So what do I need to do to get this profile right? And again, some of those things, it could be utilization. It could be some simple things that are blocking it. You never know. All right. So how to get in contact with the team. Yep. Yeah. So hopefully that's good. Yep. You don't see the option in the bio. So there should be a link there in my bio. But again, you can just go to type, you can type in fundingmyfuture.net or you can text me. Yep. So Pretty P said 3 a.m. Yeah. Yep. Yep. Yeah. We up here. But like I said, I want to pour into you guys. Just because it's so powerful. It's been very life changing for me. And I just want you to be able to access it so you can push things forward in your life and your business and fast track. Because it's a different ball game when you have funds to be able to pull from to make certain moves. Now you want to be very, very mindful of how you do it. You don't want to just go willy nilly. The last thing you want to do, I would just say, just get off of the live now if you're thinking you're about to get this funding and take a vacation or buy some shoes or a bag or that's definitely not the move, right? But when you use it the right way, it can be one of the most powerful things, which is why I'm here at 3:15 or whatever it is, sharing this with you. Right. Yep. So you said, Isaac, tune into the next live. Yep. Have a good night. It's definitely late. It's late 30, like I say. Right. Yeah. So the call is going to be with one of the advisors. Okay. Now, Lynn, here's the good news is that I will be here to be along the way if you want to talk any additional strategy or things like that. But you're going to talk with one of the advisors who's very well equipped to be able to help, again, whether that's with credit or with the funding process. But if we want to talk any other strategy or you have anything in between that, once you do that, then you can always reach out to me. All right. You can always reach out. But, for me, I have a daughter that's 2 that hopefully is going to stay asleep until 7. We'll see. So I can get some sleep. But, my wife, we got another one on the way. We got we got a lot going on, so that the time is tight. This is why when I'm able to get on, this is why I get on to share this information. Right. So this is why I have the team lined up to be able to help. But yeah, like I said, they're definitely equipped. They're helping people every day, hundreds of people, to get through this stuff. So definitely more than equipped to help you lock in. Right. Generational wealth. That's what it is. Yep. 240, 640, and then 2. Yep. So Lynn, you're talking about you're going to work with your fiance. Yep. That looks good. And thank you guys. Thank you. That this pregnancy journey is no joke, not for the weak. We had some it's been a wild one. It's been a wild one. I much respect for mothers and parents. There's a lot that we go through to make this work. Yep. Lynn, you're doing the corporation thing. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine too. Yep. So that's good. I mean, if you have tax reasons or different strategy reasons why you want to do that, that's great. Whatever entity that you have, we can do this. Like I said, the 0%. We can do that with whatever entity, even if you have a sole proprietor. Which a lot of people say don't use a sole proprietor, but even if you have that, we can still do it. Yep. So again, this is the most important part. Lynn, you said empty nest. Well, yeah, I'm soaking it up. I'm soaking it up as much as I can. Yep. So hands up to the sky says you just joined. Yep. You need this to create generational wealth. Yeah, let's do it. Again, if you're just joining in, I would suggest you book a call with a team, right, to get your next step laid out. But we just talked about the blueprint. What's the personal credit profile that you need? That's the most important part, right? And I think I might, maybe I'll jump back on again if you guys want to know that LLC structure that you need, follow me. You can send me a DM. Tiffany, thanks for the follow. And hands up, thanks for the follow too. Robert, appreciate the follow. All right. So you can message me if you want to know that LLC structure and the things that you need. But again, the fast track way, when you get on the call with the team, even if you don't have an LLC, or if you do have one, they're just going to be able to tell you and just take all the guesswork out of it. Say, okay, this is going to be the best possible setup to get you funded. All right. That's going to be the most important thing. And that personal profile. And again, you guys, for those of you that are not ready with your credit, you can still be positioned to move forward, to leverage this information, to capitalize on it, either for direct income, like I said, in the form of referrals. And again, this can add up significantly, even with just a little bit of strategy. If you tap into people that are realtors, people that are tax professionals, if you look at your local chamber of commerce and people that run businesses and are looking for funding, it won't take long. Like I said, it's not far-fetched to get $1,000 per client, per referral, $2,000, $3,000 per, and that adds up very quickly. That would be a nice little Christmas bonus if you had that right now, right? And then the other way that we talked about is you can leverage a credit partner. So if it's not you, then who else can it be that's sitting on that profile, and you can still have access to it in one way or another to be able to push forward, right? So, Yep. So I appreciate you guys tapping in this evening. And like I said, I want the best for everyone. And I will repeat again, I believe in abundance. I feel like everybody can win if we approach it that way. I believe that's the way that God created the earth, in a way that things can work together and everybody can win. Right. So, part of that is I'm committed to be able to help the next generation to be better off. And so that's why I've planning to do a portion of my profit, right, that's going to be designated for young entrepreneurs to get into business, get into real estate, or financial literacy, mentorship, all that, so that they can move their lives forward, more effectively. So hands up, how do you connect with the team? So you're going to go to fundingmyfuture.net, or you can hit the link in my bio, or you can text me and I will send you the direct link. If you don't get any of those, I will send you the direct link. As soon as we wrap this. 240 642. I'm gonna put it in there one more time. I should just copy and paste it, but that would be too easy. 240 642. Right. And again, I will just share, I'm not doing that as far as with the young people, just because I have just unlimited money right now. But I really did feel convicted that I need to start, this phase of my life on a state of giving, and just believing that it's going to come around, in one way or another. So, yeah, so that's that. I believe it'll all come together and work out, especially if, if everybody's giving, then that's how it works. That's how everything can go up, but yeah, you got it right, Geddes. Yep. You can text me, or again, you can just type in your browser, fundingmyfuture.net, or you can hit the link in my bio. Either way. All right. So any other questions, right? Man, I'm gonna stick to my word. I'm gonna end it, because I'm so tempted to go through the LLC structure. But like I said, that if you have this personal credit profile, the team can really just help you with the structure, right? The LLC, even if you don't have one, or if you do, can help you to make sure that it's lined up properly, right? And there's a lot of detail we can go into with that. But again, I hope this was helpful for you guys. Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be in here with you this evening. And I hope you guys are taking this information and ready to run forward with it. Because like I said, this is the best way to fast track things. You don't have to wait forever. A lot of people that don't get into business, don't get into real estate, it's like, I don't have $30,000 to pay for a down payment. You know what I mean? I don't have $50,000 to do this, or $10,000 to do that. This changes the game completely, right? Yep, Lynn. I'm glad you logged in too. I, there was I almost didn't do it, but I'm just being obedient. So okay, we got to jump on it. I don't know who's going to be on, but it definitely feels appropriate, like it was designed this way for you all to be here with me. So I appreciate you. Appreciate you being here, and like I said, I want us all to be ready to push this thing forward, because the more that we do, and again with business, it's like making money is one thing, but money is really just a product of the value that we add to people. So you're adding value in one way or another. So just figuring out how to add more and more value, that's the game. So you add a lot of value and solve problems, and then you get return in the form of money, and then you get to live the lifestyle that you want, the freedom that you want. That to me is like the ultimate. So yeah, I believe we all can get there, and I think this tool is a very powerful one to push us along. All right, so thank you guys so much. Again, follow me. You can DM me, send me a text. I hope you guys are taking advantage of these free consultation calls. Yep. And yeah, I will see you guys on the next time around. All right. Much love to you. Peace. Blessings, Pretty P. DMV. Appreciate you.